These are 7 things I want you to think about, start doing in order to enjoy your 50s and 60s more. I've been a family financial advisor for over 20 years now, and I've helped guide hundreds of people into retirement. I have the vantage point of having shared these suggestions with people over the years, and these are the top 7. The ones that people report back, my clients report back and say, hey, Azul, this really moved the needle for me. This really resonated with me. This made a difference. And so I want to share them with you today. The first one is, I want you to put yourself higher on your own list of priorities. You know, by the time we get to 50 or 60, we've put so many people in front of ourselves, right? We have a lot of responsibilities. We have kids. We've certainly put our kids in front of ourselves. If we're married, a lot of the times we put our spouse in front of ourselves. Mea culpa, maybe not as much as I should, but I try to a lot. And it's just so easy to put ourselves 4th, 5th, 6th on the list. And you know, as we get older, I want you to move yourself up that list. You still might not be number 1. It's a great thing if you can do that. But I want you to move yourself up that list because we've spent so much time taking care of other people. I think that that's going to bring joy to your life as well. And we'll talk about what things you can do to move yourself up the priority list. The next one is, I want you to start truly being yourself. You know, if we're not gonna be ourselves when we're 50 or 60, when the heck are we gonna be ourselves? You know, we're all a little eccentric, we're all a little strange, and so if you have some idiosyncrasies, I want you to embrace them. You know, if you really enjoy doing certain things or you like spending your time certain ways, you know, go for it. That's what, we get one life to live, right? So, case in point, I like wearing hats even when I'm inside and even in my office. Now, I probably wouldn't do a meeting with a client this way, but I'm not going to tell you to be yourself if I'm not being myself. But I can tell you this hat was on before I started recording this video. And if you have little idiosyncrasies like that, if you like wearing a hat, whatever your little idiosyncrasy is, I want to encourage you to do it. Let's keep going. The third one is, I want you to start looking at how you spend your money and quit spending money on things that don't bring you joy. Now, I'm not telling you how to spend your money. It's your money. By the time you get 50 and 60, you know what? We've worked really hard for our money. So you be you and you spend the money the way that you want. But, you know, certainly if we're buying a new car because our neighbor got a new car, you know, at what point does that game get old? Right? My neighbor doesn't care what kind of car that I drive. So I want you to spend money on the things that bring you joy. And don't let anybody else tell you what those things are that bring you joy. For instance, for me, this is gonna sound strange, but I really enjoy learning. And I spend more money than I should on continuing education classes because I just really enjoy doing it. In fact, that's how I ended up starting doing YouTube, was I was curious what this whole YouTube thing was. So I took a course on it. Turns out I enjoy doing it. So thank you for watching. And I don't ask often, but hit that like button and subscribe. The fourth thing is, I want you to start leaving worrying behind. You know, when you're 20 years old and you're looking at, you know, oh my goodness, I got to work for 40 more years and I'm signing a 30-year mortgage and there's, you know, all these things that are out of your control and we could worry about. But you know, the truth is, worrying is the thief of your joy. You know, I'm halfway through that 50 to the end of my 60s range, right? I'm almost 60 right now. So I'm halfway through that 20-year journey. And I can tell you, looking back, you know, somehow it all worked out. And I stole a lot of joy from myself. And I think a lot of us have done this because we worry about things. And you know what? If it's worked for the last 40 years, it's probably going to continue to work. Now, one thing that can keep you from worrying, and I can't help myself, I'm a financial advisor. A lot of people worry about their finances. And I think something that'll give you peace of mind is if you have a professional financial plan done for you. So you know where you're at. So you have that clarity. I wish financial advisors could give their clients certainty. That's what we all want, but unfortunately, that's unobtainable. But what we can do is we can give you clarity. So enough said on that. And that's just one example about worrying. You know, maybe we worry about our adult parents, or we worry about aging parents, or our adult children. And, you know, we do the best that we can. And somehow life has worked out, and I suspect it'll continue to work out. The next one that I want to talk about is only spending time with people that uplift you. Probably sometime in my 30s, I said, you know what? I listen to a lot of positive thinking stuff. I listen to a lot of self-help stuff, and I'm just not gonna have friends that put me down. You know, I grew up in a part of the country where it's kind of the hobby of where I grew up. And for those of you that have watched a lot of videos, you know where the state that I grew up in, at least. But that's not my hobby for me. My hobby is uplifting my friends, and I want my friends to do the same thing. They say that you are the average of the 5, 6, 7 friends that you hang out with the most. And I really do believe that. I want to encourage you to only hang out with people that uplift you. And you know what? If they don't uplift you, I think it's okay to be direct and say, hey, you know, I just don't like when you do that. It makes me feel bad about myself. And if this continues, we're not going to be friends anymore, and I don't want that to happen. So stop doing that. The next one, this one sounds a little silly, but I think it's important, and that is to embrace change. As we get older, we can get set in our ways, and that's another thing that can steal our joy, is being fearful, whether we admit it to ourselves or not, of changing our routine. I certainly had that before the pandemic. I had that after I'd lived in the house that I'd raised my kids in and had lived there for 20 years. And fortunately, real estate prices rose pretty dramatically. And it's like, at this price, as a financial advisor, I'm a seller. So I sold my house, and that forced me to sell a lot of stuff, the junk that I didn't need anymore. And it kind of de-rooted me in a good way. And if you find yourself, and I think it's just human nature, I think left to ourselves as we get older, we don't embrace change like we did when we were in our late teens and our 20s. And one thing that I found is if you can do some solo travel, particularly internationally. If you can go to a foreign country or 2 or 3, which you can do on a 2-week vacation. If you can do that on your own, I promise you, you are going to return a different person, and at least in my case, more confident in embracing changes, right? Because you don't speak the language, you don't know the culture, and so you have to handle all of these surprises. And you know what? It works out. So you leave on these solo international trips one person. I candidly believe that you come back a different person. So embrace change however it is that you do that. The next one is I want you to start enjoying taking care of your health. Our health is so important. Particularly, you know, once you're in your 40s, people that are healthy in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, they're healthy because it's a priority for them. They take the time to cook and to shop for healthy foods. They take the time to work out. Now, you know, unfortunately, for some of us, we're, you know, just gonna get a bad medical diagnosis. For instance, my family has heart disease, and I'm at the beginning stages of heart disease myself. So, full disclosure, I'm vegan, and I'm vegan for health reasons. I'm trying to slow that progression of heart disease. So even though I'm doing everything I can to take care of myself, there's only so much that I can do, and I do recognize that. But do what you can do, and I want you to enjoy it. I want you to figure out what is the activity that you can do that you can enjoy, and how can you enjoy cooking or grocery shopping. There, you know, for very little money now, if you don't like grocery shopping, I don't. It used to take me over an hour. I am a slow grocery shopper, like $5. There's these services that'll grocery shop for you. You pull up to the grocery store and they put them in the trunk of your car. So whatever you need to do to enjoy that, you know, if you like swimming, I encourage you to spend money and buy a membership at the local pool. But whatever you enjoy, I encourage you to invest the time and the money and the mindset and the mind energy to figure out what do you have to do to enjoy it. I'll tell you a silly thing. I lift weights 1 day a week, I do cardio 1 day a week, and I do yoga 1 day a week. So that's 3 days. I take a day off, and then I do it again, right? But when I go into the gym to lift weights, I say to myself, you are Arnold now. It's time to pump some iron. So whatever that is, that puts a smile on your face and helps you enjoy it. Looking at this, I also want you to stop taking your time for granted. I've said this before, but I want to make sure I say it again because I want to make sure everybody hears this. And that is, if you're 60 years old, you likely have less than 1,000 weeks of healthy active time remaining. And I want you to be thoughtful and deliberate about how you spend that. And really, my channel is about getting people to think about retiring early. If you can retire at 60 instead of 65, or 62 instead of 65, or 50, those are healthy, active years. And none of us know, you know, I could have a stroke tomorrow. We all could have a stroke tomorrow, right? And all of a sudden, these things that we could have done that we didn't do. So early retirement's not for everybody, but I want you to be thoughtful and deliberate about how you spend those 1,000 weeks. Another one is, you know, we all have things in our lives that we regret. Try to live in the present, right? The worrying comes from thinking about the future, and regret comes from, you know, I've had some things that I've done in the past that it's like, you know, I didn't handle that well. I wish I had handled it better. So try to live in the moment and forgive yourself. And I had to go through some therapy for some baggage that I carried. And I encourage you, if there's some baggage, if there's some things that you're finding hard to forgive yourself for, go see therapy. You know, invest in that as well, because not only is it the time that we have, but it's the quality of the time that we have. So I want you to make the most of it. And on that topic, I also want you to watch this video here, which talks about 5 reasons to retire as soon as you can, so you can make the most of your youth, of your senior years. Thanks for watching this one. I'll see you in there. Bye-bye.